can tell what you guys can see. You can see this, all of this, right?
Yeah, we can see your, and I think you're just sharing that window. So.
Yeah, I'm just sharing this tab.
Cool.
So yeah, sorry, what do you want me to do?
Oh yeah, no, I just wanted to show the menu. So there's restart runtime, and that resets like the whole computer, like the computer that you're using through Colab. Factory reset runtime is similar, but a little bit more intense, and you probably don't need to use it. You can also do restart and run all. But as long as you have it running and stuff, that's good. But like you can just import pip install NetPyNE for the first time, and then as long as you have, as long as you don't need to restart everything from the beginning, you don't need to call that cell again. But actually, we probably do want that at the beginning for this. So actually, do you want to start a new file for just this exercise? Sure. Awesome.
Yeah, just give me a sec.
Yep.
I have to reshare a new one.
Okay. Okay, and then while we're doing that, so since we want to measure action potentials, right? So what's the sort of cellular bit that we want for that? What part of the cell?
The soma.
Soma would be good, although the soma is like an isopotential thing usually, or at least in NEURON. So where would we see action potentials propagating along?
Axon?
Yeah, the axon. So we'll just make one section for the axon. We'll just imagine it's an unbranched axon, and the soma. We'll leave the soma out of this. So, all right, and we'll just let Laura catch up to the typing. Laura, you get extra credit.
Do I need to install NetPyNE?
No, not for this.
Not, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think so. Okay.
Okie doke, great. And yeah, if you want to just do from NEURON import H. And from NEURON.units import, we'll do UM, MV, and MS for now. So, and microns just in case. That's great.
I don't know how to do the
I don't
or whatever.
either. According to Robert, there's a fancy way that Mac users can put in Greek letters, but the U is good for this too. So, okay. And if you could also just do import Plotly.
What's the? I don't even know. I've never used Plotly before.
Plotly.
Plotly. Import.
No. You can just import the whole package.
Oh, okay.
I'm also not super familiar with Plotly, so I'll
wait.
Give you guys the answers for that. Just import Plotly.
Oh, okay. So we're not going to do like the import Go or whatever it was last time.
No. So we're actually going to use this thing called the range var plot that I think Robert alluded to earlier. Yep, that's it. Killer. And then so we decided we're going to make a section. So anybody know off the top of their head what the correct sort of oh, you're right. Load file, std run hoke. Thank you. But yeah, anybody remember what the syntax would be for creating a new section?
Section.
Fantastic.
Is it just dendrite?
Well, so the names are totally arbitrary, so we can call them whatever we want. But since we want to do an axon instead of a dendrite, right? Because we're looking at action potential, so you might want to change the variable name as well. But very good. And what sort of mechanisms do we want to have in order to look at action potentials? So the built-in ones, there's two main choices. There's the passive mechanisms and the Hodgkin-Huxley.
So we're doing the .hh, right?
Yeah, right. And do you recall what the syntax is for that? To
It's
insert them?
h.insert and then the name of what we declared as.
Oh wow, okay. That is so I don't let's try and run it.
Do we need to do the .l or is it I know it has I think a set value for the diameter, right? So we don't have to like actually declare it.
No, so yeah, there will be a default value, I think, for each. But we will set it just for now. I don't think the exercise actually specifies what it should be, but we want it to be sufficiently long that we'll see some differences along the axon, right? In terms of propagation. So, Laura, did you run that cell?
Nope. Sorry.
Okay, let's give it a shot. Okay, cool. An alternative, sort of less verbose way, I think, and if you don't mind, if we could just test it out too.
Mm-hmm.
Could you do axon.insert? And actually, if you could put this in that cell above.
Yes.
Sorry.
We're doing both.
Yeah, well, let's comment.
Or do you want me to get rid of it?
I honestly just want to make sure it's for my own sanity. And then parentheses, the string HH. So single quote HH, single quote. Awesome. And then if you could just comment the top one. Okay, well, either way. Great.
Sorry.
No worries. I probably should be doing this myself and just not have the solution up. Okay, so we got that. And now we want to make a long axon with a reasonable diameter. So who can tell me how we want to, let's say just arbitrarily, we want a millimeter long axon. How would we go about that?
Axon.l.
Yep. And then
yeah, why don't you go ahead and take a look at what axon.l is first before you find a value. Just hit enter on that, or shift enter on that, and you'll see what the default is.
Okay, so it's only 100 microns long. So let's make it 10 times bigger than that.
10 times?
Yeah, sure.
Oh man, math.
But also remember, you want an odd number, right? That's in the nseg.
Well, we don't care how long.
Oh, that's true. Like, you don't care. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then actually, if you wouldn't mind doing the same for the diameter, let's see what the default value is, and then we can change it.
I think it's diam, right?
Yeah, it's diam. Okay, and that's way too big. So let's make it tiny. Let's make it 1 micron.
This is in microns, right? So I can just put 1?
Yep, yeah, that's the default value. Even though it's best practice to have times microns after the fact, it's not a big deal. Okie doke. And we want it to have lots and lots of segments, so let's just make it 1001. So that would be, anybody know offhand how to set the number of segments?
Segments?
Sorry? Oh, okay, Carol came in.
Carol got it.
Yeah, nseg.
How many do we want?
We'll do 1001. And so actually, no, we don't need to have the passive channels, or the passive mechanism for this. So you just insert the passive ones if you're looking at like passive sections, like, if you have passive dendrites, you would do insert pass. But like if you are looking at a soma, I don't think you want to insert passive and the Hodgkin-Huxley.
The HH includes a passive. So yeah, you don't want to insert both.
Okie doke, great. All right, so now we want to look at the stimulation paradigm. So I think the exercise says we want to use an eye clamp. I don't know. Does he specify any of the parameters? No, he doesn't. So let's just start off with like some kind of variable to define the eye clamp and where we're going to put it. So we'll call the variable stim or eye clamp or whatever you feel like. And then does anybody remember the syntax for this? Okay, you got it. Killer. And you're going to pass that some arguments. Yes. But okay, very good. And then which end of the axon do you want to stimulate? We want to stimulate one end of it, right? So let's pass that 0 so that we're stimulating the bottom. Excuse me. And then does anybody remember the like parameters for the eye clamp that Robert used in the last thing to get a single action potential? This isn't really important.
Delay, the amplitude.
Yep. And one more thing.
Duration.
Yeah, the duration. Cool. So let's do a delay of 1, totally arbitrary, but beautiful.
How long do we want it to be?
So I think 0.1 milliseconds is enough. We just want like a quick pulse. And we'll do an amplitude of 1, which again is totally arbitrary. No units here. I think it's in nanoamps, picoamp, nanoamps. Doesn't matter. We'll stick with 1 for right now. Okay. And we want to plot this along the length of the axon, right? So did Robert talk about range var plot? Does anybody remember how it works?
No. I
Nah.
don't remember.
Okay, so I'll actually just copy over the syntax for it because it makes a lot more sense than saying what it actually is. So there we go. And just to explain this a bit, the range variable that we're looking, so, there's 3 arguments, right? V as a string, axon at 0, so that's the segment at the beginning of the axon, then axon parentheses 1. That's the last segment or the end of the axon. And this is basically saying we want to plot V along this spatial range from the beginning of the axon to the end of the axon. Very good. But that's not actually going. Oh, is that gonna actually plot it? No. Well, all right. Well, so we need to set up the simulation now, actually, right? So, did you guys talk about like simulation setup and how that works at all? Anybody know what like the first typical step would be?
A little bit. Those import the standard. Don't remember. Load. Maybe we have to load the file standard.
Well, so we've got the load file std run hoke up in our
already.
sort of up at the beginning of our sim, right?
Sorry.
But we want to initialize the segment or the section rather, or the axon, to be at a particular resting membrane potential. Let's say like minus 65 is pretty typical. Yeah, Sonia, thank you. So you can actually just copy that right over. So h.f initialize minus 65 millivolts. Very good. And then
how long do we want to run it?
So we're only stimulating for a second, or not even, what am I talking about? We're stimulating it for 1/10 of a millisecond, and we're only going to look at 1 action potential. So I don't know. What do you guys think is a reasonable runtime? 10 milliseconds sounds good to me. And let me see if we're missing anything. Oh. Oh, I see. We want to actually look at this at different time points. So rather than do an h continue run for a single value, let's make a list of times that we want to continue until. So we'll go to 5 milliseconds, and I don't know if anybody has a clever way of making a list from half a millisecond to 5 milliseconds, or somebody just wants to, if you want to just hard code that, 0.5 to 5 and steps of 0.5. So I like the way you're thinking, but I don't think we can actually pass
I don't know what.
list.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what we're doing right now, other than.
Okay, so yeah, if you wanna cut that list out of there, and let's make a separate variable called I don't know, T's or whatever, doesn't matter. Times is a lot more sensible. Okay, and then we're gonna loop through times and then run the simulation for each of those values or entries. So for t in times, right? And then for the sake of simplicity, I'll just copy over the plotting piece that goes in each iteration of the loop. To be honest, I can't explain it myself. So you want a colon at the end of that for loop statement, right? So 14 times colon. And then you want h.continue run indented, as well as that my plot business. Okie doke. And let's try and run that. Okay. Oh, my plot is not defined. Interesting. Okay.
I think
So we need to define that.
RDP, isn't it?
Sorry? Say it again?
Oh, no. Sorry. No.
Okay. So... Okay, he has a separate definition for time 0. I'll just copy that over.
Maybe Plotly there.
Well, so it's a weird thing where we're not really using Plotly ourselves to make the plots. So you want to keep that where it is, actually, Laura, but you want to have this extra version before the loop. So yeah. So you can take that and but right after F initialize, but before the loop. Great. So yeah, just to sort of clarify, we're not really using Plotly ourselves. We're telling NEURON and its plotting functions to use Plotly as its back end. So, all right, let's give this another shot. Oh, okay, sorry. So you want to change t-stop to be t here. Okay, great. And then, yeah, finally, there's a little bit of Plotly style formatting. I'll just copy that over, and then my plot.show. That's not really important. We're here for the NEURON, not for the plotting. So if you want to copy those bits over, that'd be much appreciated. Oh, well, you don't want to necessarily put it in the same cell, yeah, because we already ran that one. So no sense in running cells that have run all right themselves to begin with. And just my underscore plot.show. Open, close, parentheses. And let's see what we got. Hopefully something pretty. Very pretty.
Ooh.
Okay. And the last thing, so the second part of the exercise, right, was, okay, so, and you guys can see over on the right that each color is a different time point in the simulation. And the x-axis here is distance along the axon, right? So there are these gradients in voltage along the axon at different time points, and it changes as you would expect. Great. So last, we just want to change the axial resistance to, what did he say, 100 mega ohms? Yep. Or not mega ohms, ohms times centimeters. So yeah, axon dot. Anybody happen to know the variable? Actually, this is a good teaching moment. So if you want to see what, does anybody know how to look at all of the properties? Isn't the right word, is it? Let's say it is. Anybody know how to look at all the properties of an object in Python? Yeah, thanks, Hector. Hator. Dir of axon. Yeah. Oh, and thanks, Joe. That's a good way. I personally would have liked to do in range of 10 and divide by 2 or something like that, but whatever. So do any of these look like RA, or actually? Oh, well, actually, I think you just scrolled past it. It's right at the top.
Oh.
Yeah, so it'd be axon dot capital R lowercase a. And that's, so we'll just set that to 100. Actually, let's see what it is first.
Okay.
Let's check the default value. So you don't need to keep this cell as it is. You can delete the dir parens axon, or I don't know if you want to keep looking through and see what else is in there. But
sorry, what's RA?
The axial resistance. Okay, so we're gonna basically triple it. So let's make it 100. And then we're going to rerun the simulation. So if you just want to go back up to that cell where you can just copy the h.f initialize down, I think. And then maybe if you want to go back up to the plotting bits. And then just my plot.show. Okay. I think we could also, let's MUI different. You can maybe scroll back up and have a quick look to compare. Lovely. All right, awesome. So does anybody want to volunteer to take over the scribing bit for Laura? So
yes, it's very stressful.
Type in public, I know, I'm with you.
Typing in public is actually more stressful than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But
always.
If no one wants to do it,
no volunteers.
Doing
it. God, people. All right, I can
give it a try if you.
Well, I'll do it for this time, but I'm expecting more participation from you people. If I'm gonna type. So let's see. Show window. All right, so you all can see this on this blank notebook. Excellent. And then let's have a quick look at the exercise, because I don't remember. Compare the Hodgkin-Huxley sodium and potassium current responses to being voltage clamped at V equals 0 millivolts. Okay. So where are we going to start?
Aren't we going to need to install neurons and all that stuff again? Load in the FOC file, the import statement.
Yep. Okay. So same place we started with before. So from neuron import H. Oh no. Shift enter is not what I want. Well, whatever. And I need to install Python. not Python, Neuron. And then from Neuron. Okay. So what next? So we're not looking at anything over space, but we do want to look at Hodgkin-Huxley related stuff. So what part of the cell might we want to do this in?
If we can name things arbitrarily, can't we just call it a patch?
Yeah, we can call it whatever we want. So, but whoever said Soma, that's how I would think about it too. So I'll call it Soma h.section name. And let me see, does the prompt tell us that we want to set any kind of parameters or just compare H and, not H, K and NA? So, what do I want to put into the Soma? Same question as last time.
The HH mechanism.
Yeah, right. So I'm going to do it this other way, which I never knew about. That doesn't seem right to me. That, well, no, I guess insert this into the Soma. That actually makes more sense than Soma.insert. The other thing, whatever, it's not important. Semantics. Okay. So we've put Hodgkin-Huxley into the Soma, and then what do we want to record, and how do we want to record that stuff?
I have a question.
Okay, shoot.
If I have multiple cells and I do that, the h.hh insert Soma, is it going to insert in the Soma of all of my cells, whether it should or not?
Well, no, because if you're going to have different cells, you're going to have different section names, right? And ideally, you'd have classes for each of those, or a class that defines the cell, and maybe you have like a list of cells. Like, let's say, for instance, I have something like a list of cells. Well, I shouldn't overwrite that, but cells is let's imagine they're pyramidal cells, and you have 10 of them, right? And I want to put Hodgkin-Huxley into only one of them. The section would be cells of 0 dot Soma dot insert HH. So it would be some kind of syntax like that, right? And in this class definition for PYR, you would have Soma equals section name equals Soma or something like that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so we want to record, what was it, potassium and sodium? Right? Yep. Yeah, sodium and potassium. Okay. So does anybody know offhand how we can record the potassium current or the sodium current?
Anya just put it in the chat.
Oh, great. Thanks. So, that's great. Ref IK. Ooh, is that actually is? Yeah, I think so. And then just for the Soma, or for the sodium, we can just sort of combine these two syntaxes. Where we have h.vector dot record Soma dot ref. No worries. Okay, that's right. So let's do that. Soma has no.
I don't know if there must be a HH in the ref, like some mechanism ref.
Wait, I don't quite follow. And Joe, if you're trying to
say soma.hh.refik.
Oh yeah, right. No dice. I think we actually have to record from a segment rather than the section.
Oh, good. Yes, thank you.
But I think you're right. We do need the .hh as well. Let's see.
Yeah, let's see how this goes.
Nope. Okay, so yeah, so we need it needs to be recorded from a segment, not a section. Everybody see that? I'm recording from the middle of the soma rather than.
Yeah, this is a distributed mechanism, right? So in order to figure out a current going in, you have to choose the point you want to measure the current at. So yeah, you can't record from a whole big thing. It's distributed. You have to choose a point to record from.
All right. And then now we need to do the stimulation, right? So does anybody know how we might set up a voltage clamp? We want to take a stab at it.
Is it similar to setting up the I clamp, the current clamp, but with V clamp instead?
Yeah. At least I think. I've never used a voltage clamp in anything I've done, but and then we want to we'll put it in the same place that we're recording, so 0.5. And let's just see what the parameters are for this. So I did dir of stim. And so we want a reversal potential. Gain? Oh, I don't think we need the gain. Let's see what the default values are for some of this stuff. So dir. Oh, it doesn't have a delay?
Do we want to use V clamp or SC clamp? Because the slides mention both for V clamp, and I think they're different.
Yeah, no, I think it's supposed to be a voltage clamp for this exercise. Sorry, too many tabs open, can't find anything. Oh, voltage should be clamped at 0 millivolts. So, yeah. Well, let's, for the sake of my own sanity, let's also record the voltage. I know that Robert didn't tell us to, but he won't mind.
I remember Robert saying about the SE clamp. There is a single electrode voltage clamp. I don't know if that one has a delay.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, let's just try some stuff out.
Correct. I think
I can look at
the V clamp and the C clamp do not have delays. You have to start at 0, but you have like this duration .dur, which is an array with 3 values, and you can set the first 2 to 0, and then so you can set like 3 different time points, different values, but you cannot start later than 0.
Okay, sure. Okay, sorry, just a second. I have too many tabs open. Can't find shit. Where is this notebook? Oh, here we go. Okay. So we said we're going to use the SEC clamp. We want the amplitude to be, so we want voltage to be 0. Why is it 20 millivolts? Okay. So I guess we want the amplitude to be at rest at the beginning. So we'll do stim dot amp1 is minus 65 millivolts.
Did my screen freeze? Because what I'm seeing, the tab open is the solution.
Oh, seriously?
Is anyone else seeing that?
Yeah, I think it's. I'm seeing the same thing you're seeing.
Wait, I'm sorry. So what is everybody seeing?
No, we're seeing the
solution tab.
solutions.
Oh, well, fair enough. You know I'm copying it over from the solutions. So, what did he have? 20 millivolts, if anybody remembers right. And then he goes back to, can you guys see the actual, like, non-solution one now?
No, I still see the solution.
Oh, it's because I took it out of that. Oh, God damn it. I don't even like Colab. All right, so now you guys can see the non-solution-y one, right? And can you see the solutions next to them?
No.
Great. Excellent. So we'll go back to minus 65 for the end, and how long do we want this to last? A long time, apparently. So we'll start at 5 milliseconds, keep it up for 20 milliseconds, and then, I don't know, run this for 1,000? Okay. Okie doke. And so we just have to run it now. So what sort of steps do we need to run this thing?
Initial.
Yep. Initialize. Start off at minus 65. And anybody have any strong opinions on how long to run for?
What were
All right, let's do it
1,000 milliseconds.
Okay. Excellent. And again, I'm just gonna copy over the code for the plotting. Unless, I mean, does anybody really know how to use Plotly, like, really well? Anybody, like, more familiar with Matplotlib? And can, like, shout out some answers? Because that's more fun, right? So, okay, if somebody's good at Matplotlib, let's do that. From Matplotlib, import pyplot, it's PLT. Ooh, but does pyplot? It must work in this, I'm sure. So what do we want to plot, and how are we going to plot it? So we have these two vectors, IKA soma and INA soma, and the time.
Is the stim also a vector? Could we also see what the stim looks like?
No. So stim's not a vector. That really shouldn't be in the same cell as that. So stim is this point process SEC clamp. It just wound up getting stuck in there. We also have the voltage, but that's not important. Well, anyway, so I'll just do 3 plots. that works. Excuse me. If anyone's worried, it's the pollen here in New York, not COVID. Don't everybody jump up and say, "Oh my God, I'm so scared," or "Thank goodness."
Glad it's not COVID.
Thank you, much appreciated.
Craig, I couldn't care one way or the other, buddy.
I appreciate your honesty. Okay, we got some kind of funny looking results.
Can we make the third duration shorter since it's the second duration that's the step?
Yeah, let's do that. So,
Like maybe only make it 10 milliseconds?
yeah, well, so wait, we start at 20 milliseconds, and then only another 5. Let's call it 30, I guess. Much prettier. How that compares to the solution now. Not even. Oh, he's plotting them on the same axis, so I guess that's not unreasonable. I guess I don't like that it starts off. Anyway. Okay.
Don't we loop this at different voltages?
Sorry?
Don't we need to loop this at different voltages?
Oh, right. Good call. So,
there must be a 4. The run should be in a 4, like the other exercise, so you could have the membrane potential in
yeah, right. And what do you guys think we want to try for the range? What sounds reasonable? No,
As
like
an example, he has -80 to 40.
okay, let's do that. So we'll do well, I don't have a NumPy imported, but we'll use yeah, thank you. Oh man, and you know what? I just realized that's not right either. Those should all be stim, not V-clamp. V-clamp. I can't believe it didn't yell at me about that, actually. Well, that's totally different. But anyway. Oh, the first one causes that? Okay. Well, anywho. So we want to change stim.amp2, I think. So I'm actually, for my own sanity, because I am going to use Plotly for this.
Do we not have to reinitialize it each time?
Oh, good call. I forgot about that. We should reinitialize it each time.
I'm a little confused by our voltage plot because I thought if we're voltage clamping it, the voltage should look like a step.
Yeah, I totally agree. So if I understand the syntax of the SEC clamp, it's starting at minus 65 millivolts. Then we clamp to, I don't know why it's 20 millivolts, but 20 millivolts. And then we go back, and then we go back down to minus 65.
Is the duration of the hold not long enough? Like, is dir2 20 milliseconds, is that not long enough?
I'm not sure, because in this, I think the duration's fine, because you see we actually get like an action potential. So it seems like we're clamping it too high, right? One bit that isn't specified in the prompt, but is in the solutions. So if nothing else, this proves I'm not going straight from the solutions. What's his name? Robert changed the dimensions of the soma. So let's see what that changes the results. So I'm going to go and restart this. Unfortunately, I have to reinstall NEURON. And then... Oh. Him and his fancy Greek letters. Okay, that looks way more reasonable. Everybody agree?
So how did you do that?
So, to be honest, I have no idea. I mean, I can tell you what the difference is. Is that I changed the dimensions of the section that we're using, the soma, to be a spherical 10 micron radius or 10 micron diameter section. So now it's just a sphere, or I guess it's a cylinder. Either way, it's close enough to a sphere. So originally we had the default diameter, which is whatever it is, and the default length, which I think if I remember right, it was 100. So now I've just changed the dimensions.
Yeah, it's probably a voltage clamp on a really huge cell wouldn't be completely effective. So I'm guessing that changing the size of the cell made the voltage clamp effective.
Yeah. Everybody. I mean, I don't really mind. It's not important that people understand conceptually why it happened, but everybody understands that the only difference is that I just changed the size of things. Nothing else has gone different. Okay.
I do want to ask, if you don't put like reinitialize in the for loop, does it just continue to run at the end of the last simulation?
It depends. So what continue run does is it says run until this time point. So if you don't reinitialize, you'll end at, let's say, 30 milliseconds. And then if you call h.continue run, it'll be like, well, I'm already at 30 milliseconds, so I'm not going to do anything. So the h.initialize, like, both reinitializes the voltage and the currents, but also sets the time back to 0. If you did h.continue run 100 or whatever, it would start at 30 and go on until whatever you specified, though.
Awesome, thank you.
So if you want to stop mid-simulation, you can go h.continue run 50 and then h.continue run 100 and, do stuff like that. Cool? All right. Okay, so we were going to change the amplitudes and plot all those, right? We have the V's, the arrange, and I think I just need to get the plotting part, which is just a bit of the good old copy and paste. Cool. So, all right, that looks more reasonable. We're going to import NumPy, do this. Oh. Well. So I didn't do from Plotly import Go. How's it? Oh, graphics objects. Okay, T is not defined. This is the problem with copying people's things. They never name their stuff what I want to call it. Okay. So does everybody sort of get what we did there? So we have this list of voltages that we're going to clamp the cell at, that we use NumPy arrange, which is super convenient. So this is just saying go from 80 to 40 in steps of 10, or no, not in steps of 10, 10 entries. So give me 10 numbers in the range of 80, minus 80 to 40. We loop through those.
I think it's steps of 10.
Oh, it is steps of 10. Oh, for Christ's sake, you're right. Yeah, thanks. So again, steps of 10, minus 80 to positive 40. We loop through, we set the amplitude of the voltage clamp, which is that second amplitude. I don't know why I ever set this up. Doesn't seem intuitive, but the second amplitude is what we're actually going to set the voltage clamp to. And then we reinitialize, we continue the run, and then we do a little bit of plotting, and now we have this rather pretty figure.
I was taking a look at the documentation. You have 3 possible amplitudes. So the clamp you have 3 possible clamp amplitudes, voltages. You can choose all the 3 to be the same, so you have the same clamp the whole simulation. But for some reason, the SE clamp lets you to choose 3 clamping amplitudes. In this case, we choose the same as the initial resting potential, then the other one, then it goes back again. So
Okay. Anybody ever do any kind of like in vitro ephys like this? Anybody ever use a voltage clamp? No. This is the unfortunate part of computational neuroscience, is oftentimes no one's done most of the stuff themselves. So I'm sure there's some sort of rational explanation for why you would set it up that way, but I don't know it. But thanks for checking that out. Okay, so let's move along to the next one. I know. Okay, well, cool. Oh, I am the ephys in vitro and in vitro. Oh, Sonia did. Okay, great. Oh, and thank you. Sonia figured out what... Jesus Christ, I have to follow the chat more closely because she realized that the diameter is too small to begin with. Sonia knows it all. Excellent. Okay, so let's move along to the next one. How do I make a new thing? New notebook. And what is... Not too much is more than the rest of us. Actually, I mean, I did a little bit of like local field potential stuff, but that's a lot. That's, you know, you stick a probe in.
I sat and watched a lot of electrophysiologists do the work while I just watched. Does that count?
Okie doke. So the third exercise, we're going to start an action potential in a long axon with a net stim and an exponential synapse. We're going to plot the speed of the action potential propagation as a function of position. And then he's got some questions. Why is the speed faster near the beginning and end? And we'll hypothesize a morphological explanation for the red curve. But what is the red curve? Does anybody know what that... Anybody follow? Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe one of these is... No, that doesn't make sense. I don't know. Does anybody have this PDF in front of them and understands what the difference between the red curve and the blue curve should be? No. Okay. Well, let's start with the stuff that we can understand, and I'll bug Robert for what the actual difference is. Excuse me. The only thing I think of is a node for NVA, but not sure.
Yeah, so on the y-axis, it's not voltage; it's the speed on the y-axis.
Yeah.
And so so blue is what we're going to try to get out, and then red is just something he did something to the morphology. We have to guess
I
what
see.
it is.
It's like a hypothetical.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. So I won't bother to ask. We'll just start with the normal stuff. But the normal stuff starts with installing Python, not Python, NEURON. Okay. Now, what do you guys think is a long axon? It's not important, but anybody have a concept of what some of the longer axons in the body are?
A meter?
Yeah, I think a meter is about right.
Spinal motor neurons can certainly have extremely long axons.
Yeah. Although now, so I never tried this. For neuron units, is M just going to be a meter? Yep. Okay. So let's start off with an axon. Then we've all seen this before. We'll do axon equals h dot section. The name is axon. And what do we have to change for this? What's the parameter that we're going to make a meter?
Axon.L.
Yeah, great. And does anybody have a notion of what a reasonable diameter might be for an axon like this? I'm gonna guess it's similar to some of those afferent neurons, right? 500 microns. I could buy into that. Well, okay. I'm just looking really quickly at these are afferents rather than efferents, and I know that Joe suggested a motor neuron, but the afferents are like 13 to 20, 6 to 12, 1 to 5. But yeah, maybe too much. Okay.
1 to 5, somewhere in there.
Yeah, let's go axon.diam equals 1.5. But make sure it's microns. And all right, what else was in this prompt? So we want to use a NetStim. So, does anybody know how we're going to set up the stimulation paradigm for this?
So we just have to measure one action potential. So
yeah, right.
We're gonna have to set a threshold.
So yeah, that would probably be the best way to do it.
if it were me, I would just start stimulating until you get an action potential. But yeah, we could also try to be more forethinking about it.
Yeah. I'm presenting to everyone. Okay, I knew that. So, Jesus, Robert, this is much more complicated than the original ideas he had for exercises.
It's pretty complicated for an intro here, but
yeah, I know. And I can hear Surrey in the next room over, and Robert's doing much more talking than I am. But anyway, okay, let's start off with the stims, because at least I know off the top of my head how to do that. So we want a net stim and an exponential synapse. So we'll start off with the net stim. Oh, actually, we forgot one thing. What do we need in the axon to get action potentials?
The mechanism, the HH.
Yeah, right. So we'll do HH. And then for the net stim, we'll do H dot net stim and place the. I'm sorry. Does the no, the net stim doesn't get placed anywhere. That's just a stimulation thing. And so some of the things for the net stim, I know number is going to be one of them. We only want one. We're not really interested in noise. Yeah, we want the number, the start, and, well, interval's not going to be important because we're only going to have one, right? So let's just do ns dot number equals 1. Ns dot start. Let's make that 1, 2. And interval shouldn't be a factor. There is noise. I guess you can pass that, although I think the default must be no noise. But let's just see for the sake of experimentation. Okay, 0. Yeah, that's good. Okay. And now we want a synapse to drive, or we want this net stim to drive a synapse. So does anybody know how, like, the syntax for creating a synapse? Well, Evan, that's the netcon. So we've already. Oh, wait, no. That's the connection between a synapse. Shit. It's a bit. The terminology is a bit screwy here because we want an exponential synapse, even though there's no presynaptic cell. So the netcon would be if you want to connect the presynaptic cell to the point process on the postsynaptic cell. But right now, all we need is the point process itself. That's the one. Killer. So I'll do syn equals xsyn, and we're going to place that on the axon in the middle, I guess. Or actually, let's put it at the beginning.
Put it at the beginning because we want to see the travel of the axon.
Yeah. And then some of the relevant parameters for the synapse. What do we want to set? We want like we forgot nseg. Oh, good call. So, geez, it's a massive thing. Let's give it a, I don't know, 1001. I know that's the same that we did earlier, but number of segments is the number of compartments, so that increases the amount of compute time, and we're not exactly going to publish these results, so it's not the end of the world. Okay, so we want a reversal potential. Let's see what the default reversal potential is. It's 0. That's a pretty good one for an excitatory synapse, and needs to be a time constant as well. 0.1's a bit small. Anybody want to suggest a different time constant?
Like 10 milliseconds?
Yeah,
0.5, 1,
0.5, 1, 10, that's all good. So let's pick 3 someplace sort of. It's my mental approximation of what the meaning of those suggestions is. Let's call it 3. Okay, so now we need the netcon to connect the net stim to the synapse on the axon. So netcon And the syntax is going to be the stim to. Sorry, Sonia, I don't follow you. What's H dot star?
H.netcon.
Oh, H.netcon. H.netcon. All right, you're all there. Okay, and then the second argument is going to be the synapse itself. And then we need a weight, just an arbitrary weight.
They mentioned
And you still need the
forget the
H.netcon.
H. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I see what you were saying. I forgot the H. Okay. And let's just see what this does real quick. So I'll make a vector for voltage in the middle of the axon.
Missed the dot.
Thank you. That's the one you were talking about, right?
I mean, you spelled vector wrong in the time one.
Thank you. Okay. And cool. We get an action potential pretty early on. Okay. Or no, that's not an action potential. It's not high enough. What the hell?
More stim.
Sorry?
Need more stim.
I know, yeah. So how do we want to do that? Anybody want to make a suggestion?
If you change the netcon weight to be higher, would that do it?
Yeah, let's give that a shot. Let's try 0.9. Not high enough.
Maybe change the reverse potential.
Okay. Sonia suggests diameter. I think it started at that, right?
Some positive value like 40, 50.
All right, let me try Sonia's suggestion. So let's go smaller. Okay, this doesn't make any sense because it's keeps showing the same thing. I'm just gonna try restarting this because I'm never sure. Like something is not being reset. Interesting. Well, so I went down with the
I don't know.
Should I have gone up?
You have a 1 meter axon and you have synapses in the beginning and you are measuring in the middle. Maybe we measure closer to the stimulus, we could see something different. So we could
yeah,
investigate that.
So let's try measuring from 0.1. Oh. That's the same. All right, let's try a smaller axon. Let's do. Oh, shoot. Okay. Are we all satisfied with a half a meter, or I'm sorry, a tenth of a meter for the axon? That's okay, right? I know primary motor neurons are all fun, but at least this works. Okay. And now we want to get the space, the derivative, the speed of the axon, so, or the action potential. So somebody had a suggestion about using thresholds to do that. Could they maybe, the continued run time was not long enough? Oh, you think? Possibly. Oh, that makes sense. Well, okay. Well, let's stick with this, and we can go back and have a look and see if we can get the meter long one to work. Okay, but somebody had a suggestion about using thresholds. Does anybody want to flush that out?
We'd use HNetCon to record the time of the action potential at different spots and then use that to get a speed.
Okay. So how do we do that? Okay. So let's try maybe recording at each segment. So well, call it crossing back. And then, so Carol, do you know offhand what we would use for the syntax to record that? If let's just say we wanted to just use one, we want to record one segment with a NetCon. If not, it's okay. I wouldn't have known this if you put a gun to my head.
It says, I've got it up, h.netcon, the location /ref_v, comma none, comma section equals axon. I've got it up on the PDF.
You said none for the target, right? And then what was that last argument?
Let me copy and paste the command from slide 64.
Okay. Oh, okay. So, thank you. So we'll increase the. So Daniel, you have some kind of like rationale for that, or?
I was thinking that it takes some time for the stimulation to get to the middle of the axon. So if you increase the axon length, it will take time to get to record it.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks. And then for that one, so sec equals axon. We actually want to put this in a list comprehension because we want to do this for every segment. So we got all these monitoring vectors. And so basically you guys remember that there's this, I have an h dot vector, and then I, do that vector dot record to record the value. So I'm just going to do this in a list. I don't expect anybody to come up with this on their own. Can't we use range var plot? That's a good question. So we could use range var plot. And keep rerunning the simulation, or run it for different lengths of time. So range var plot will give us the voltage at a particular, or at all locations, but only at the last time of the simulation. So we would have to do something like what we did before, where we run it like at a bunch of different t-stops, if that makes sense. But you could definitely solve this problem using that, I think, right? Actually, that'd be okay. We're already getting close to the. I think we're running over the time that we were originally slotted for. Right? This is supposed to go till 7. Yeah. So I mean, if you want to do that for your own edification, we can go over it tomorrow. That'd be
yeah. That sounds like
everybody would appreciate it. And I can have a look at it, but yeah. But okay, let's just try and finish this one sooner than later. I know people live in different time zones and probably want to go to bed. Plus, at some point, I have to eat dinner. Okay, so we have a bunch of vectors. We'll monitor where they go. Oh, shoot. For Christ's sake. Plotly dot graphics. Graph objects. Killing me, Robert.
Objects, plural.
Thank you. Okay, so guess we're running a big simulation. Oh, why did we make the DT so small? Oh, wait. To the 5th? Where's he coming up with this? Anybody good at the mental math knows why? In God's name, He's taking 0.025 divided by 2 and raising it to the 5th power. Oh my, that's insane. Screw that. Nothing needs to be that. Nothing needs to be that small.
Code should really be readable, and it's hard to read that.
Yeah, okay, that took way less time. Yeah, I mean, so anybody, I don't know, I'm not sharing my whole screen. If anybody's interested, Robert wanted to run that simulation at 7 times 10 to the -4th milliseconds as the DT, which seems bananas to me, but who am I to judge? Whatever. Okay, but maybe that was too high now and we won't see anything interesting, so. This is his plotting thing. Oh. Index error.
Can you print the spike times so we can see if that worked?
Yeah, let's give that a shot. So, what is the shape of monitor now? Well, that's not useful. Oh. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the zip. I believe who receives the dot record has the dot record method? The vector or the netcon should have the record.
So monitors. Okay, so well, zip is a super convenient little function that takes 2 lists of the same length and combines them so that you can loop through them both at the same time without having to like use usually like in a C-based language you would like loop through the indices of another one and then you would say like monitor brackets index and then what's the other thing? Crossing vex brackets index. So in Python, we can just loop through both of them at the same time and pull those variables out. So that's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we want the netcon to record the vectors. And actually, what are these? Jesus. Never mind. But these vectors aren't actually recording anything, are they?
Wouldn't be vector dot record.
Yeah. No, you're totally. I think you're right.
I mean, in the zip would be vec dot record, and then monitor inside it. I don't know if it.
I see what you're saying.
I'm not sure, but
No, I think it does have to be the other way around.
Yeah. No.
Just check to make sure. Yeah.
Craig?
Yep.
just to let you know that it's 7:15 and Robert already finished his part, so it's recorded. No, I just mean that it's already recorded.
Yeah.
If you want to stop at any time, you are free, because people can watch the other recording and just follow the exercises there, because I know it's pretty late and you're also a bit sick, I think. So if you want to finish this one, that's totally fine, or finish both of them, just to let you know.
Okay. Well, people are trickling out. It is 4 a.m. wherever Nushin is, so I understand. I don't know. Does anybody really want to stay and work through this this last bit? I don't mind, but if you want to call it a day, have a look at Robert's solutions. That's great too. I'm not going to be personally offended. Although I am a little cross with Robert right now, but that's okay.
Can you give us a hint on why the?
Sorry?
Can you give us a hint on why the speed is faster at the beginning and the end?
To be honest, I have no idea. Other than that, it's like an edge effect. It's just because it's like an artifact of the fact that we're like trying to like solve these continuous differential equations but in non-continuous time, but that's my only guess. I don't know. Salvo, Joe, you have a
I thought maybe because the diameter is wider, so the propagation speed is faster, and there is a nice.
Well, no, but in the simple one, even when it's a constant diameter, it's faster at the beginning and the end. And I think Craig is right. It's an edge effect, because at the edges, there's only one direction the current can go, whereas in the middle, the current can go both ways. So it's going to be faster at the beginning and the end, because it can only go one way.
That makes a lot of sense.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, in the absence of like uproarious demand to continue.
Yeah, let's call it a day.
I think we should call it a day. Thanks for bearing with us, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Good day today. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Nice meeting you all. See you tomorrow.
Thank
All right. See ya.
Thank you, Craig.